Today I'm going to create a very simple Easter table piece. So we're going to use these two containers that are going to sit end to end like that on the middle of the table and decorate it by actually pulling apart our beautiful garland. I love this garland as is, but I just like sometimes having a denser cover of ornaments sort of neatly into position, and also something that's very easy to take on and off the table when people come, if you're putting lots of food on, and some simple foliage. All right, so I've already painted these two boxes. These are simply from Kmart. They are bamboo drawer liners. I used the masking tape to create stripes, so I can run them one after the other and have that little bit of decoration around the edge, which I thought looked quite cute. I've done this look before, so our regulars will have seen very similar to this in the past with some different pieces that I had, but I always think it looks fabulous. It's just one of my favorite sort of looks. Okay, so I've also got here a little pile of cut up picks. I keep this in a box. I use them at Christmas, I use them for Easter, I could even use them every day. So they are a couple of pieces of I think this is tea leaf pick, eucalyptus, and I've broken them down into really small pieces so that I can easily put them into containers like this and then fill them with whatever extra decoration I want. This is all I had at home, this little pile, so I'm therefore going to spread that evenly as a base to start with across these two containers, and then we will add our garland on top of that. When you've got a piece like this and you just pull it off the stem, you end up with sort of a larger knob on here. The foam, I use the green foam. I find that's nice and easy to work with. So generally you can push that into the piece and it'll just hold. If you want to though, you can cut the ends off as well. When you're putting something like this in, you'll see that I haven't put it up front, up top like that. Try and sort of have pieces coming out to the side a bit as well as the middle, so that it always looks like it's got 3 dimensions and it doesn't just come straight out the middle of your piece. And as I said, because I've got 2 of these and not a lot of foliage, I'm going to simply spread this foliage that I have got amongst the 2, and then we will fill with other our nice pieces on top of that. We'll don't need to watch me put every one of these in. We'll fast forward this for you and make it a bit quicker. You can see as I work, I am just with the limited pieces, work diagonally opposite each other, and that way I can evenly cover the base of this as best as I can, and then make it very easy to put my pretty pieces over the top of it, and my the bases on both of these are going to be covered with the same amount of foliage, and therefore the whole look should be quite seamless. So if you work them always together, then you will have a much more seamless look if you're trying to put 2 pieces one after the other. So we've just used the available foliage that I've got. If I was doing one of these containers, I'd probably want one either eucalypt piece or tea leaf piece, or anything that can be broken down into smaller elements. So nice piece of greenery. We've also got one on the mychristmas.com.au website, which is It's got little red berries on it, but you can cut them off easily, and you can break that out down into smaller green pieces as well. It's a slightly smaller pick, so you might need 2 of them per unit. So it's certainly not full. We can still see the foam in there. And I forgot to mention at the beginning, the foam, I've simply cut down blocks of foam, and when I put it in, I always make sure it's a little bit bigger than the container and really push it into place so it stays in its position. So even if you have lots of material going in there, it doesn't wobble around. So I like to have it nice and tight. The ends, I've just pushed a few pieces in to fill the gaps so they're not as tight, but everything else is set that way. All right, so now what I'm going to do is work from one end of the garland, because we don't want to ruin the whole garland. I could still use this on a tabletop, depending on how much of this I use. Over and just get that out of the way. All right, and so when you buy something like a garland, they've normally been wrapped together, so sometimes you can very easily pull the elements out, or you have to gently kind of wiggle them and pull the wires, or in this case it's quite tight, but these are quite long stems, so these stems should be long enough for me to then put them straight into the piece. Let me just cut the first ones down and see how we go. So that's quite big. I'm actually thinking that I could even cut that down into a smaller element, and that way I've got it all a little bit tighter, closer into the piece. So I'm going to go through and break up a section of this. As I said, not go too far. I'm going to use everything. I'm going to use the leaves that are in there, all the little pip berries and the little glitter balls on here, and then we're going to use a couple of these Easter eggs through it as well. I'm actually going to fill it quite a lot. So, and there's only, what, 1, 2, 3, not a lot of the eggs. So I want to have a few of them in each of them. So I might end up taking the eggs. Even if I take the eggs off, I could still use the greenery and the little berries on the other piece that's left, and that'll look fine. All right, so I'm going to cut these off and prep them ready so that we can then just put them all into place. I don't want to cut all the small or every piece into a smaller piece, because sometimes, you know, you want to have a bit of a spray. You also want to use the wires that are in there to give all your pieces as much shape as you can. So, you know, in that case, we'll leave that bigger and have a couple of leaves coming out. So cut some small and then leave some of them on the bigger side so you can play. And once again, as I'm entering, I'm going to put these in to see how much I need. I'm going to kind of do diagonally opposite each other so I can keep a kind of even look to the overall piece. I find it does help make it much easier to look at the full finished piece and go, okay, yeah, that's even. You haven't left out big sections. And it's also great when you're rationing your materials like I was earlier, to do it this way so that you don't run out. I'm going to just put my 3 eggs in at this stage, because I'll see then how full it's looking. So I've got 2 larger and 1 smaller, so we'll go with the larger on the sides and the smaller ones that are more in the middle. And I want them to sit out a bit so that they're obvious. You can also put full pieces like this in if you want to, and then just spread them out. So let's just do 2 of them so you can see, rather than putting each piece in. Another one the same. Well, I think that's quite cute. I think that's quite sufficient. I have used everything I pulled off that first part of the garland, so I'm going to do the same again and create another bundle of pieces, just so you can see. For one of these little containers, I used about 50 centimeters of the garland. All right, so I'm going to now pull this apart and create another little bundle, and then we can make our second piece. Our centerpiece to go down the middle of the table, I put that on a table runner. I always love to have a table runner there. By keeping it in the boxes like this, it gives you more room if you're wanting to put eggs around it, or if you're wanting to have, you've got food or nibbles and so forth around it as well. So it does make it more compact than the garland, but it also means if you want to take it off the table, it's even easier than sort of having the garland with all of the arms that come out everywhere, if you like something like that. This garland is on the website mychristmas.com.au. Some of the greenery I've used is the same as what we've got on there. So we've got one that's got a red berry in the Easter section. You could also try looking up eucalypt or green tea, and you may find that there's some of that foliage left as well if you're looking for the foliage. The containers I used are just Kmart bamboo drawer liners, and then I've used some Oasis in there as well. I know we are actually out of that on the website ourselves, so I did grab some from the local florist today before I started this. So check out the website if you're looking for the products. If you're looking for more decorating ideas, please subscribe to the channel if you've enjoyed this. I like to share lots of decorating tips on easy ways to create for Christmas, Easter, other seasons, and also just everyday decorating ideas for around the house or table settings and so forth like that. Again, thanks for joining me. Have a sensational day. See you.